Hello and welcome. It's your weekly fix, the leg up, your weekly thoroughbred preview podcast, and the usual suspects are in the building here for a big day at Te Rapa and our Puni. Stephen Hunt right next to me joins me, and I suppose we look back before we look forward. Steve, Thousand Guineas Day there, and a bit of rain sort of hovering about made things interesting last Saturday.
Yeah, it did. It made it tricky for punters investing prior to race day. Look, the perfect pink. It was just a repetitive of what we've seen right throughout day one and day two of Te Rapa, Opie Bosson.
We talked about Opie as well, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Look, he's just a big game player on the day in the Opie, and I'm sure he's got a little bit more improvement to come as we get closer to Christmas time and the summer tracks. But look, she was always going to be the horse that was going to hit the 1,600 metres strongly, the perfect pink. She's got plenty of upside heading towards maybe races like the 8 Carat or the Royal Stakes over Christmas, New Year. Be intriguing to see which way they play with that filly going forward, but a deserving win. But what I'm looking forward to, just outside Cup Week, we're heading towards Te Rapa.
Yeah.
We've got the 4 stakes races, which are very, very strong, a little bit light numbers in the juvenile race, but overall, very strong card. I think over the 9 races, it'd have to be the strongest card we have come across thus far this season, and that's including Hawke's Bay over the Carnival and also Cup Week, which we've already touched on in the last fortnight or so. So there's some really progressive types in that undercard, which is just linking up nicely with the feature races.
Yeah, it's that time of the year. Brendan Popple, good afternoon to you. Where the Derby market's out, there's some Auckland Cup markets out, etc. We've got an unbelievable card there at Te Rapa, and we also had a very, very good week down south. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, fellas. Yes, it really starts to just link towards that Christmas race, isn't it? And this is that first step towards all of that good racing coming up in the northern region, and what a meeting we have. I do believe that the Counties Cup has actually stood up as a race this year. And look, not to say that it doesn't normally, but this there's some nice stayers coming through the ranks in the Counties Cup. Looking forward to the fillies and mares race at the Auckland Thoroughbred Breeders and our sprinters with the Counties Bowl, where Levante, of course, 12 months ago blew them away at Pookie. So, yep, all that to look forward to. And, as you mentioned, fellas, a great week in Christchurch. Look, I must say, a big tip of the hat to Matthew Cross, who really did bring all the colour that he could possibly bring in his calls to a racing week where there was no crowds. He was able to make it as exciting as possible, and we saw that through his calls, not just at Riccarton, but certainly through Addington as well. So, really can't wait for the summer racing now.
Would there be one commentator? I'm just thinking Australasia, because I don't follow the racing too much overseas when we get to the Northern Hemisphere. But in Southern Hemisphere, would there be one commentator that commentates that many races in the space of
7 days?
7 days, because he's cross-coding?
Yeah, no, we had this conversation in the office the other day, didn't we? Yeah, unbelievable. And he seamlessly jumps across codes. And
just not commentating, but doing the form. Pre-race comments as well on the thoroughbreds and the standardbreds are incredible.
He's asked to make selections as well, BP, isn't he? So it's not just even commentating. He's got to do all the homework and come up with some credible selections, which he tends to do as well.
Too right. Yeah. And he puts in the hard work and is really rewarded. Look, I can't think of anyone because most commentators, especially in Australia, are on their code, aren't they? There's a few in the sort of around sort of parts of sort of country Victoria, New South Wales, where there is a little bit of crossover. Luke Marlowe, for instance, comes to mind. He does a little bit of sort of greyhounds and covers sort of that country New South Wales with the gallops. But in terms of a high amount of calls and one go in 1 week, look, only Matthew Hill you can come to think of over Melbourne Cup Week, and that's just covering Flemington. This is covering 2 codes, huge effort. Yeah, he's a great talent, that young man, Matthew Cross.
Yep, no, I 100% concur with those sentiments. Before we come back to you, Pops, I want to say good afternoon, rather, to Paul Mawadi, man barely standing. Back-to-back best bets to this man. Now, take a bow, Paul. What was it last week again? Refresh my memory, please.
Was it the perfect pink in the 1,000 Guineas? And just,
yeah, it was.
Was it? Yeah, a lovely ride by one Opie Bosson, and an equally good ride by Sarah McNabb in the New Zealand Cup. The Dummy Myers, Monderani, getting up at around the $20 mark. That a lovely ride by her, but boy, Opie's just fizzing, isn't he? Oh, this is going to be a great summer.
Yeah, he's 54.5 on Saturday. It's a big call.
Is that what he's riding? The weight he's riding?
Yep. All going well, 54.5 to get down to the 2-year-old race, which we'll touch on shortly.
Half of me.
I guess the time that he's had at Te Rapa has done him well.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, no, he's obviously got his mind on the job. Absolutely. Can Lightning strike twice or 3 times, Paul, this week, do you think?
We'll see at the end of the potty, eh?
Gee, I hope you're right. I've heard a whisper. I hope you're right. Okay. Well, we're going to go back to BP before we move on to some previews around a very, very bumper card there at Te Rapa. BP, you've found another maidener of the week for us.
Yeah, look, I've gone to the Awapuni race meeting that was held on Friday, and a really good maiden race this, and it was won by a horse who showed talent last season as a 3-year-old and couldn't quite get it done, by the name of GC. You would have seen there, your computer screens would have been just rolling with all these numbers and figures coming in on this horse, and got the job done and closed off in the Tommy Sauce, did GC. But I do think this is a horse who can go on with the job. Formerly with Stephen McKee, now with Stephen Marsh. Ran in a really good maiden race last season behind, was it like No Filter and Karma Lass in that race out of Taupo, and was unlucky in a couple of better races. I do like the second horse in this race. I think that's the key reason why I really want to make this the maiden of the week. GC, horse to follow, but Blissful Bell, a horse they were pretty keen as well, lads, to have something on. GC was so well backed. This horse was just as not that far off them in terms of being a better back runner also. Ran the Quinella, run second, big margin back to third. So you're keen to be backing GC, but also Blissful Bell when it lines up in a maiden next time out.
Yeah, can't blame you. It's not all the time the betting. They really singled those two out, didn't they? And then they came away and dominated and won by panels. And not always that happened. So probably a good sign that these two are pretty progressive.
Yeah, Marketplace was spot on the back of trials, which we saw out of the Stephen Marsh team. Formerly was Stephen McKee, I believe.
Yeah, Pops mentioned that.
Mentioned that.
Yeah.
Looking at the figures, 3.5 lengths above maiden class suggests they can easily take the step up to 65 grade. As BP mentioned, there was a distant or margin back to third, which is always good in terms of a form reference. And the dam of GC, Smitten Kidden, was good enough to win 8 races.
Tiakau, Smitten Kidden? No.
Good question.
I'm
not sure. But you're good enough to win 8 races. I think contested some black type events as well. So being by Sacred Falls, GC, no surprise it can gallop going on pedigree.
Yeah, okay. No, it was a good one. And yeah, absolutely. They hammered those two that Pops mentioned and got just rewards right. We better move on, guys, because we do have 4 races we want to get through at Te Rapa, and we want to start with the 2-year-old stakes race, Steve, the fast track insurance 2-year-old stakes over the 1,100 metres. A little bit of race day form against a little bit of trial form.
Yeah, it makes it intriguing, doesn't it? Look, we posted Bright Blue Sky on the back of trials and a reputation. The daughter by Fastnet Rock as the pre-post favourite at 210. It's been traded into 1.9 on the back of some very strong support. A number of 4-figure bets, the biggest being 1,500 at $2.10. So now trading in the red at 1.9. Mascarinto, who has the race day form, has been also well played. So 2 horses that punters have identified in the betting. The 1-2 in the marketplace, 230 into 210 Mascarinto. Sacred Satono, 420 out to $5. And best of the rest is Bakumbur, 11 out to 18. So talking point, the 2 firmers, but in particular the debutante out of the Jamie Richards stable and Bright Blue Sky 210, 190.
Yeah, always tricky BP trying to line up that trial form against that race day form. We'll come back to Steve in a minute and ask him his views on this, but where did you settle around this market and who do you like?
Look, I do like the Tiakau runner. I know that we haven't seen many of their 2-year-olds just with where they're at in terms of their preparation. But very shortly, we are going to see an abundance of these horses stepping out. We saw a number of them at the trials back on the 4th of November, where they unleashed a couple there. And this was one of them I thought that was unleashed at that particular set of trials. I just like how professional she was. She was a horse who sat in behind speed. When that rail position was open for her to come underneath that leader, I just like how she's taken it and she's accelerated away from them. So I think there's really good signs from her. I know the team like her. She's a horse that they paid a bit of money for out of Australia. I think the Magic Million sale from memory with her. But she just looks to be a horse with the right draw. Be able to either make a decision. If Mascarinto jumps like he did last time to the races, he is drawn 5 as opposed to 2 when he was able to explode from the barriers. Does he come right over? Does he get to the rail? Or does he sit outside? Opie Boston and Bright Blue Sky. So that will be the early decision and probably the key part of the race, really, isn't it? Over the short course of 1,100. But yeah, early thoughts. I was with the 2-year-old Tiakau runner and Bright Blue Sky.
Yeah, and this is the run, 54.5 Opie Pops.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? But I must say, he has put in the real hard yard. And look, proof in the pudding with his 2 Group 1s over Cup Week. But of course, he had to move away from his family, get out to the farm at Te Rapa and put in those hard yards before getting that exemption to leave the Auckland restrictions and Auckland area to get down to the Waikato and be available to ride. So proof's in the pudding, and maybe we'll see that again on the weekend.
Yeah, no doubt we'll see it at some point. I'd be surprised if we didn't. Paul, race day form, the old race day form versus trial form, where do you sit with it generally?
Yeah, I'm happy to lean towards the race day experience in this case. So Mascarinto for mine. I could see we've already taken a wee bit of a cash that way, and I thought that it was a lovely win over the 1,000 meters, and I think a similar sort of run will have him waving to the crowd once again. So I do like the look of Mascarinto, possibly to my detriment, because once again, bright blue sky, that Jamie Richards, Opie Bosson combination, it's more lethal than Thad Taylor in a karaoke full of 80s hits. It's good. Obviously, they have a lot of confidence in it as well. So, yeah, I haven't got it on top, but it would not surprise me to see her jump up and win. I think that Sacred Satono, after that first up run, I think it just looks like
there was money for
might
it that
take
day
a
too,
little.
Paul, wasn't there? There was money for it that day as well.
There was money for it. Yeah. It just looks like he might take a little longer than some of these others, just to show his potential. So he's in the mix as well. But yeah, I think the 2 on top are clearly above, head and shoulders above the rest of the field. So yeah, Mascarinto, really do like.
Okay, it's interesting. Now, before I go back to Steve, number 3, is that, how do you say that? Is that
Beckenbauer?
That's the footballer, isn't it? Beckenbauer, is it? Yeah.
Beckenbauer, yeah.
Franz Beckenbauer?
Oh, jeez. Yeah, you're in the right. You're on the right continent.
Yeah, okay. It's only the German or no, anyway, right continent. Yeah, exactly. Beckenbauer. Yeah. Okay. Steve, we'll come back to you because you had to frame this market along with your colleagues. I'm picking there could have been some discrepancy in this marketplace off the sort of tricky sort of race.
Yep,
yeah,
100% that. Look, I had Mascarinto on top. Right. Just naturally with figures, it's exposed itself on race day, and it was very impressive. 4 lengths above par for a maiden 2-year-old race. Look, the SP was a query because it did start at around about $21. But I look back on it, and yes, it's based up north at Briley Park. So naturally, there was no trials around at the time with COVID lockdown, etc. It had 3 jump outs, winning all 3 jump outs. Mascarinto. I'm just wondering if there was a trial programmed that would have gone to the trials. Yeah, likely winner won that. Its SP wouldn't have been 20 to 1. So okay. I'm just thinking it's through circumstances more than its actual ability when it was leading into that race. Look, Bright Blue Sky will have to be as good as what they're giving this wrap on. It will have to be as good to beat Mascarinto. It could well be. They pay big money, as Brendan mentioned, $600K from memory at the Magic Million. So it's not Karaka Million eligible, the daughter by Fastnet Rock. But look, Opie getting down to 54.5, that gets punters excited. It does get punters excited. So, look, it's a race I wouldn't be diving into personally myself, just with the unknown around a few first starters. In terms of the way the betting shape between now and race day unfolds, look, the early money, as we've mentioned, is around Bright Blue Sky. But I just feel leading into the race, even though you've got the algorithms, the betting algorithms around Te Rapa, Jamie Richards, Opie Bosson, etc., I do think Mascarinto will be very firm late. Okay. Even challenging that top line, that favoritism tag late, purely because it's got the figures on board. And we see that time after time after time. If it's 2-year-olds or 3-year-olds, when you've got race day form v trial form, it does swing towards the race day form. And as we've mentioned, Mascarinto has decent figures when it comes to race day. Okay.
Well, they clearly picked themselves the top 2 pots, but which way do you settle? Good money for the favourite Bright Blue Sky, the first starter, I can say.
Yeah. I think you can go either way here. I'd probably happy to take a Quinella, really, wouldn't you? And walk away, take some fixed Quinellas. Or you look to try and play the race with trifectas and first fours. Maybe that's the angle that you try and attack this race if there is that uncertainty around which one you want to take as the winner. So I'll go for just in front of the one in Mascarinto. I don't think there's too much between them, to be honest with you. And then I did like Beckenbauer's trial. I thought he was good in that trial. He sat outside leader and he was able to put them away. But again, you're probably looking towards the 2 as well. So look, I'm 4-1 and then a bit of 2 and 3. The other 2 runners, Bella Tavace, I know Nick Bashara was liking her leading into that first up assignment. There was a little bit of chat around for her of her jump out form. And My Electra comes out of a jump out also for Stephen Cole. But yeah, we'll go around those 4-1 and 3-2, 3-2 combination.
Yeah, okay. It's not a bad way to maybe make yourself a little first 4. Paul, you settled with the 1 eventually, Mascarinto.
Yeah, Mascarinto on top, Bright Blue Sky, Sacred Satono, and Beckenbauer.
Had to get Beckenbauer in there. Very good. Okay, gentlemen. Let's get to the meat in this sandwich, and it's Counties Bowl, and there's some interest here, Steve. I see these horses sort of resuming and running up against each other, and I started to think Railways in my head. Run us through this market race number 5. Counties
Just before
Bowl.
I do touch on it, we brought out the Railway and futures betting.
Yes.
Basically, this is a semi-final. A lot of the horses at the top of the market are in the Counties Bowl, excluding on Trivia. So it's a real key lead up, and we bring up the futures. But it's only 5 weeks away from the Railway. So You're thinking a lot of these sprinters, they may only have 1 race leading into the Railway, potentially 2 max. So important race and form line in terms of their Group 1 on New Year's Day. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned futures markets.
Yeah.
We've got a wee bit of a new promotion which I'm sure has already caught BP's eye, a future-proof bonus back promotion. I don't know, should we get into it now or maybe mention it towards the end of the body?
Well, you're there, mate. Well, you're there. Run us through it. Relevant.
Right. So it's basically place a futures winner bet through your TAB account. And if your runner doesn't start in the final field, we'll refund your bet up to $50 as a bonus bet. Now, you can have as many runners in that futures market as you like, and you'll get refunded up to $50 as a bonus bet per runner. It's once again, head to the TAB website and go to the Punters Lounge to check out all the terms and conditions around that. But it starts not this Saturday, but from Saturday the 27th of November. So
those Railway, the Auckland Cup, and etc. or Derby will be included in this future proof, so we can bet into these markets, can't we?
Yes, and not just thoroughbred.
No.
And not just here. I'm pretty sure you can the Australian futures markets as well. So I think on the 27th, the Winterbottom is run. So if you've had some futures bets on the Winterbottom, you'll qualify for this promotion here.
Yeah, so we can have a
also,
sorry, Paul.
Late scratchings on the day count as well. So,
jeez, I mean, we've cast the wide. Punters can miss?
We've cast the net wide here. I'm concerned that we may have cast it a wee bit too far.
Cast it far too wide. So we can have
future-proof
$100 shot. Future-proof. We can have a crack at $100 shot pops in a derby, and if it doesn't make the field, we get our money bags of bonus bet up to $50. That sounds a bit of fun.
It's a shame it wasn't in when Glory Bound got scratched last week in the 1,000 guineas. I would have had some bonus bets to play with, but
maybe
anyhow.
$50 probably wouldn't have eased pain, but anyway.
Yeah, no, good promo. And like you said, it means you can play. I mean, when futures markets open anyway, that's the best. As soon as these markets open, that's the best way to go, is to try and find those ones at extreme odds. And now you've got an even more an incentive to do so.
Yeah, very good. Okay, Steve.
And you talk about those Derby horses, but also for the likes of the Railway, a horse like Sakura Blossom, ratings well down. At this stage, you'd say a struggle to get into the race, set weights and penalties, but you want to back on potential. But if it doesn't quite get there purely, it doesn't get its ratings up high enough to get into the set weights and penalties condition of the race, you get your money back around a horse like that. Has plenty of upside, but just has to get its ratings up between now and January.
Qualify for whatever reason. Yeah, it's a really good point. Really good point. Okay, Steve, let us have a look at this Counties Bowl market, please.
The ripping race headed by Levante, $2.50, and well played that. Levante, 2.5. Vamos BB, open third, now trading second line, 380 into 330. Babylon Berlin, 350 out of turn to 360. Rockin' Horse, $9 flat. Short Views 26, Gino Severini 31 with Only in Jakarta. Johnny also 31. It's Destiny's Child 41. And Best of the Rest is Addicted to You at 51. So, look, there's a few ways punters are playing. Levante, very firm at 2.5. Vamos BP, there's your initial firmer there, 380 into 330. And also Rockin' Horse, well played, as it was first up at Te Rapa at $9.
Oh, we know how good she is, Pop. She's a gun. She's unbeaten first up, but racing pattern makes her a bit of the heart in the mouth sort of stuff. And you can see why customers maybe just some sort of potentially boxing around her with the Vamos BBs, the Rockin' Horses. But, gee, it'd be nice to see her come out and give them one, as they say, Levante.
Yeah, I mean, if she races like she did last year, she will, won't she? And especially in this race last year. I think she's come back in great fettle. She looks good through her trials. I like how she's got away with them in her trials. She's a horse that was able to take a reasonable position before making her move into that trial. And she's had a couple of hit-outs exhibition-wise too. So things look to be right on target. I'm sure the camp are happy with where she sits leading into this race. Of course, it's always going to be in the back of your mind, isn't it? And you go back to the race. You know, we were waiting for the head-to-head challenge between both her and Avantage at Te Rapa in the sprint race. And look, unfortunately, it didn't happen after one stride when she missed the kick by so many lengths. I find this such an intriguing race. I really do. I'm leaning towards Babylon Berlin because of her pure speed out of the barriers and how she can find a position. I know she's drawn out wide, but she's just so fast that she can take a position. Now, you only got to go over what she's done last season. She's bumped into a number of good horses, but she's also won races. And I like how she got to those couple of races at the back end of her preparation and put them away. She's come out first up. And what was, a pretty light race, really, but it was the right race to kick her off in 1,000 meters, and she got the job done. So I'm leaning towards her. I think she sits at a nice price. She could even maybe extend a little bit further if this money, which is a little surprising how strong it is for Vamos BB, because this is a real step up for this runner. This is her first real serious test against true top liners. I think there's no doubt that she's up to this class, but this is her first real test. So if the money keeps coming for her, well, then something's got to give, and maybe it is Babylon Berlin, but she sits at a nice price for me at this stage anyway, guys, around having something like that.
Yeah, she was impressive last up, Babylon Berlin. Paul, have you got the stomach for a bit of Levante first up?
Well, she has a fairly decent record after a decent break, so if she's ready, I think the 250 actually looks quite generous for mine. It'll certainly be in a number of multis come this weekend. And if she is good to go, she could show this lot a clean pair of heels. I'm really, really keen if she's good to go, and I think she is. So along with BP, I also like the look of Babylon Berlin, was just too classy for them down in Riccarton. And I just like the way that it was traveling. So yeah, Levante and Babylon Berlin. I don't mind the look of Johnny John either. He's been racing through the grades, and has won on the synthetic track at Cambridge. And once again, it's a bit hard to line up that synthetic form. But I'm pretty sure the Perfect Pink won at Cambridge as well before heading down to Riccarton.
You managed to get the Perfect Pink
picking
into
up
that
a Group 1 victory. So yeah, I'm looking for Johnny John to be up there as well. So yeah, but Levante for mine. I can't go past her.
You like the 250? Look, I mean, Johnny, we be a speed influence in this race, Steve. There's no doubt about that, and there looks to be a few potentially.
There's three horses here I've got mapped inside that first two in the running. One of them obviously being Babylon Berlin, which Brendan has alluded. Only Jakarta and Johnny. Those three have all drawn the outside marbles, so you're going to get speed right from the word go in the first 100, 200 meters, because look, 3 doesn't fit into 2. So one horse will have to just take a sit from that initial pressure. I don't think it will be Babylon Berlin. You look back on all her starts as a 3-year-old, she just had to lead. And sometimes it was the undoing, whether it was the horse or the jockey, just getting to that vital, that lead spot where she almost becomes one-dimensional at times. So, gee, they could go really hard here for the first 600 meters. That is a slight concern I've got around Babylon Berlin, just on her. Look, her record is very strong at Te Rapa. The concern is the Pegasus. On the eye, very good, but rated horribly, 3.4 lengths below par, and she bet nothing in that race in the Pegasus. That was really her race to win. I think she was around about $1.30, $1.40 on close. She had to win that race. I know she put a margin on them, but the overall figure was poor. So it's a slight question mark, because visually it was very, very good. But again, I will stress, she bet nothing down south, Babylon Berlin. This is a decent step up.
To the
for sure. Levante, look, she won this race last year carrying 53 kegs. She's lifted her ratings, obviously, between now and then. She has to carry the 59.5. She's there to get beaten. She's first up, 59.5. If she bet this field and they go to the railway, in terms of weights and measures, she's got this lot covered. She dropped to 55.5 for the railway. So looking forward out of this race, just keep an eye on what she does to this field. But if she was to win, and when it comes to set weights and penalties for the railway, she could be the one outside on Trivia. Obviously, we've got to include when it comes to the 1st of Jan. When I mentioned the speed of the race, you've got those first three that will go hammer and tongs. It's a balancing act around Levante, because if she does show that tardiness, which she has shown in the past out of the gates, and sits in that last one or two in the mat, naturally you go, I want the pace on. I want the strong pace. But I think she wants it even tempo. If they go too hard and it's hammer and tongs from the word go, she'll be chasing a long way out, and she'll be detached from the back of the field. She needs to be attached, close enough to make that move, so she's in striking zone for the last 400 to 600 meters. So that is a concern. Finally, Vamos BB, I think this is the one. I think she gets the mat just in behind that hot speed, which we've already touched on. She's up in class, but progressive, and numbers back it up. And that rating 74, 1200 at Mudda, where she started a dominant favourite. The first 600, they went out 36.32. The last 600, they ran home a quick 33.58. 18 length swing between the first 600 and the last 600. So she was mapped in the right position because she was leading. But the overall figure was 3.6 lengths above par for 74 grade. But you put it into open class, it was 0.3 lengths above par. Suggests she can make the step up. So Vamos BB, I think she's got the gun run.
She's going to get the right place in the run.
I think so. And just with that run under her belt, comes out of the stable. I think she's a genuine railway contender, because I think the stable prefer her right-handed as well. So whatever she's doing left-handed at Mudda and Te Rapa on Saturday, look, I think she can improve maybe a touch right-handed as well.
I don't know what price she is. Is she in the railway?
Yeah, she's around about $8.45.
Okay.
Yeah, she's riding commission.
I see there's a bit of money for Rockin' Horse in this race. Saw some money. I think it's out at 26 in a railway. Won't mind the improved track conditions, you wouldn't think, and the resuming run was good.
Yeah, ran home the fastest last 200 of that race in the open sprint first up. Money on first up as well. It's got a bit of a following. There's money up second here, around about that $9 quote. So again, probably maps in a similar position to Levante. Does it have the turn of foot that Levante does have? Maybe with the weights and the difference there, possibly, but it's come up very well going on its first up run.
Yeah, okay. G-Pops, tricky for everyone when three experts each have a different horse on top, but you were sort of thinking Babylon Berlin might better run them along here.
And that's good. That's good. It's good for the race. It shows that just how deep this race is, and I think our sprinting fields for the year. If you can get this field with the inclusion on Trivier and if Secura Blossom gets there, all those sort of horses, I think it sets it up for what is going to be a really good sprinting Group 1 season. Yeah, look, I'm going to go with Babylon Berlin over Levante and Vamos BB. I don't find too much between those three horses, but it is going to come down to a number of different factors around the speed of the race and what horses get in the sweet spot if they do go crazy up front. So great watch to take in. What else do we need? Gino Severini, he seems to run at any distance. He's run fourth in a Herbie Dyke. He's been group placed here at this venue in a Foxbridge Plate. Then goes to Hawke's Bay and runs fourth and third in races like the Tarzino and the Windsor Park Plate. He can run in just about any race, Gino Severini, and he will give you something. He's drawn one. He'll be slow away probably, and he might be a horse that'll try and keep up with him, but he might be finishing at the end to finish into fourth position. So you always got to have Gino in there somewhere. So look, I'll go 3, 2, 8, and 1.
Yeah, okay. Pops with Babylon Berlin. Paul, Where did you settle? You had Johnny as a roughie in there from memory.
3 experts. Who's the other one?
Yeah, I was
Yeah, I got Levante on top.
guests. Sorry, yeah,
Babylon Berlin, Johnny, and I'm going to stick only in Jakarta in there again.
yeah.
Like you say, there could be a wee bit of a speed battle going on up front, so they'll definitely be up front.
Yeah, I don't mind only. You give it only in Jakarta one more chance. I know it was swamped late over 12, back to 11. Steve, I mean,
Yeah, they ran a fraction below tempo for the first 600. So she had every right to kick last start when she was in that leading position. But yeah, just a question whether she's really come back to what we saw the numbers producing in her first few starts or campaigns. So again, tricky to map her because I don't think she gets the lead here with the likes of Babylon Berlin, etc.
Yeah, okay. Exciting race nonetheless. Well, no doubt it is. And great to see Levante back on the track. Gentlemen, race number 7 on the card. Franklin Auctions, I should say. Counties Cup over the 2100, Steve. And look, 3 distinct favourites sort of separate themselves to some degree, although it is a nice betting race outside of that.
Yeah, it is a nice betting race, and we do get that trend when it comes to the open handicap stayers. Look, it's headed by Cheaper Than Divorce, impressive winner in its first 2 assignments this campaign, $3.20, got out to 330, just firm back into 3.2. Robusto, genuine firmer here, 650 into 4.5. Now she is that second line with Justin Mays, who also has been well played, no surprise, the local 5 into 4.5. The stablemate of Justin Mays, Judy Song, 9 out to 11. So there's your lead in terms of the David Green pair. 2 Madison, 10 out to 12. She is the same price with Z Falls. Big Mike, bouncing between 15 and 17. She is that same price with River Run. Les Sabalier, $18. Sweet Clementine, 18 out to 21. Barracuda, best of the rest at 31. So look, there's 2 or 3 they're playing in the middle market, but in terms of the best lead, it is around Robusto and Justin Mays in that second equal line.
Okay, they're having a look at a few here, BP, and it's a nice betting race. Cheaper and Divorce has been excellent since resuming. Justin Mays, we know her quality. Robusto right there. And then, look, Z Falls, your old mate Big Mike. Les Sablier's got money. Interesting race to try and dissect.
It is. It's a nice cut field, isn't it? And yeah, but before we talk more about this race, this is not the first time that the Counties Cup has been run at Te Rapa. You go back to 2005 when Kerry O'Reilly actually won on a Sunday Counties Cup. Now, if you remember, the meeting was called off at Counties and they just tagged it on to the end of the program on the Sunday meeting at Te Rapa. So they just moved the whole race, kept the barrier draw, everything the same, onto the back end of a Cambridge Jockey Club meeting at Te Rapa in 2005. It was the last race on the program. And we had Kerry O'Reilly winning for Cameron Lammis, beating home Creel and Lord Asterix in 2005. So there's a little fun note for you. You can do whatever you like with that. I'm not too sure what you can do with it, but you can do something with it.
Not a lot I liked it, though. Yeah.
Yeah, good race. It is a good race, isn't it? Big Mike's going to set things up in front, isn't he? He has to carry 60 kilograms. He's bouncing out of the Group 1, but he's racing honestly. But he does have to give some pretty good stayers some weight here. And it's going to be down to those horses trying to rein him in. And that's the question mark. He does operate well here. And, of course, I'm going to have him in my numbers, Big Mike. I really like Justin Mays. I feel as though Justin Mays is in the right spot this season. You think about the Justin Mays that won the Waikato Cup, for instance, back here in 2019. It was a dead set leader, had to be in front, had to get rolling. And now we see a different Justin Mays where a horse can come off speed. I mean, it's been placed in a Wellington Cup from coming right down the outside. I love how that he's won last time to the races. He missed the start in the Counties Cup last year and still did a great job to finish into 4th position. So he's just a different galloper, but he races so good on his home track, Justin Mays. So, yeah, I've been taken with what he did last time to the races. And also, now that he won with 60 kilograms, he comes back to 53.5 kilos into Saturday's race, does Justin Mays. So him, Robusto for sure. You go back 12 months ago, Robusto was winning the Metropolitan at Riccarton and then ran a really good race in the New Zealand Cup, was the winner of the Avondale Cup last season as well. So she's just a good staying nearby Z. So you can understand the money for her. So yeah, the other 2 I'm leaning towards, and Big Mike with the horse that will be in front and giving you that sight, but a lot of other good chances in the race.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Paul, you could have 3 different numbers, knowing you.
I really like the look of Robusto. Thought that was a super run last time when finishing third. Drops 3 kilos from those weight for age conditions last time out. That'll just suit her down to a T. So I really do like the chances of Robusto. Cheaper than Divorce. It's very, very hard to fault her form. And I thought that win last time at Trentham would suggest that the step up to the 2100 shouldn't be too much of a problem at all. I like Les Sablier. She also gets a bit of weight relief off the 2 that she finished in behind last time. Was it 2 Madison and Judy's Song? So yeah, I've got a soft spot for Les Sablier and Just Amaze. I'm also very, very keen on. I agree with BP. I think right in there. So yeah, but Robusto on top for mine.
What was your second one you liked? Was it Judy's Song or no? Sorry,
Cheaper Than Divorce.
Oh, Cheaper Than Divorce, of course. Yeah, no surprise. You've got that in your numbers, Steve. Yeah, as I say, we've got a top 3 here that sort of stand out to some degree, but there's plenty in that middle market and those teens that they're willing to have a little bit of a, throw at the stumps at.
Yeah, the one I'm intrigued about is Z Falls. This time last year was good enough to win a Wellington Stakes, later in the prep second, the Waikato Guineas, and does have the form reference around Cheaper Than Divorce. Z Falls bet her in a Lowland Stakes when finishing second, and also she finished 6th in the Oaks, Z Falls. Cheaper Than Divorce finished in that 4th placing, but there wasn't too much between them, I think just over a length. So there is a bit of form reference or line you can get between the favourite and Z Falls, and just think there's a sense of timing around Z Falls, the daughter by Sacred Falls. She was first up 1400, went straight up to 2-1, needed that couple of runs over a staying trip, and then 4th up, got the job done. And just on the figure that she produced last start, even though she's stepping up in grade, she only needs to improve maybe 1 length to be competitive against this lot. So she's on the minimum C4, so I think she's probably the one I'd identify in the middle market. But yeah, as you say, it's a competitive race. Robusto looks beautifully placed in terms of weights and measures. Just best placed horse with Big Mike accepting. Last 2 runs at weight for age at 57 kegs, drops to 54, 1 kg off the minimum, and being the second highest rated galloper in the field of 94. So he's just ideally suited when it comes to the weights, Robusto.
Yeah, okay. About 2 Madison, Steve. I mean, just double figures of the drying track, a touch of a concern. Is that why we're not seeing a lot for 2 Madison?
Yeah, look, that form reference in terms of 2 Madison and Judy's Song, that they probably have to improve a couple of lengths at least to be competitive. I thought in terms of a form reference of a horse that's coming out of a Te Rapa race was Z Falls, just rated a touch higher than the 2 Madison race. So you do mention maybe a bit of fire out of the track. Let's talk about the track, because earlier today it was rated a dead 6. Fine weather between now and Saturday. So I think later on in the program, when it comes to Saturday, it will be a genuine dead 4, possibly on the brink of a good 3.
That's exciting. Okay, BP, with all that in mind, where did you settle in this year's Counties Cup?
Look, I'm going to go for a local victory in David Green's horse and Just Amaze. I'll mark that as my top selection in the race in front of Robusto. Like both of their chances, 4 to beat 3. The one Big Mike, look, he'll be in front. You know where he's going to be, and it'll be hard to run down because he operates so well here at this venue. So I have to have him in the mixture. And my other number in the race has to be Cheaper Than Divorce, stepping up in distance. 2 very good runs back from her this preparation. So 4, 3, 1, and 5.
Okay, Pops with Just Amaze, the local. Paul, he couldn't go without Big Mike and his numbers, could he, Popsy? But where'd you go?
I've gone with Robusto on top. Just in front of Cheaper Than Divorce, Les Sablier, and Just Amaze.
Okay, Robusto, Robusto $4.50, Just Amaze $4.50, Cheaper Than Divorce currently the $3.20 favourite. Last race we want to preview, gentlemen, before we let everybody go for a Thursday night is race number 8 on the card, the Dunstan Feed Auckland Thoroughbred Breeders Stakes Group 2, Steve, over the 1,400 metres. Tell us about this market.
Yeah, nice meeting. A nice race, should I say. Headed by 2 Illicit, 270 we posted on Wednesday. We accepted a $1,200 bet at 2.7. Remains that price for the James Wellwood team. Travelling light, 4 into 330. So there's your firm early doors, 4 into 330. Our Alley Cat in that third line out at half a point, 5 to 550. The Show of Roses, 9 out to 10. A Slave to Love, 12 out a couple of turns to 14. The Nazza 15, and best of the rest is Loose Cannon 21 into 18. But yeah, To Illicit, well played, top of the market, but also Travelling Light 4 into 330 is your firmer.
Yeah, 2 quality mares at the top of this book, BP, but gee, she was good resuming To Illicit. It had been a while off the scene, but she put them to the sword in a race where she probably didn't, didn't deserve to, but wasn't maybe expected to.
Yeah, I think just reminded about how good she is. And easy to forget, isn't it? Just how explosive a horse's turn of foot can be, and just how talented she is. To Illicit, where things haven't always gone her way, but boy, that was a great return from her. It really was, and sets up for whatever rich angle they want to go for now for the summer season with her. Travelling Light, I liked her return also. The fact that she had to carry, she carries 61.5 kilograms. She's a horse who's fought on gamely to run into third position. We know her high quality, her Group 1 performances to her name. And then you're looking towards horses like our Alley Cat. I like the way that she's turned up this season. She's a horse who was not getting all those favours in the red badge behind To Illicit when finishing 4th, and really good win first up to the races. She looks like a mare that's, continuing on for where she left it right at the back end of her season, our Alley Cat. Look, the one horse I do like in this race, and it's at an overs price and could keep pushing out too, is the one horse in Show of Roses for Opie Bosson and Joanne Surgeon. This horse was drawn the outside gate, but don't be put off by that. This horse won 2 races last season from bad barrier draws. Won the Zuzu Stakes from either barrier 12, 14, and also won the Rich Hill, was it the Rich Hill Mile that she won as well. Now, that was also off the bad barrier. She's got herself really good early tactical speed, and with Opie aboard, you'd imagine that she is going to be able to find that position of being right and running. She might land outside leader, and if she gets all the way, well, so be it. Maybe with a horse like No Rock No Pop, who's in the race, who's obviously down in the ratings, but can go early. Show Roses could just find that position of just creeping over and getting outside leader. I reckon she's a great top 4 bet in this race. Yeah. She sits at 10s and 250. I want to be on her at the each way. She was desperately unlucky last time to the races, and she's a good quality horse, what she showed last season in those races that I mentioned. So I think she's a bet at a price. She ran second in this race last year to go on and perform last season, and the added fact you get Opie Bosson.
I was going to say, that's a nice gear change. It's like car on, isn't it? A little bit, but Bosson on pops.
Yeah, it is. It certainly is. And look, I think he's going to have some time on the sideline too after this weekend. So, this is probably the right time to be able to finish what's been a good golden period to get a win here with Show of Roses.
Yeah, absolutely. Snuck in and grabbed a couple of Group 1s and gets a nice little couple of weeks holiday. Paul, where were you thinking here? Some quality mares in this lineup. That's the first thing we can say, I suppose.
Certainly are, and I do like the look of the favourite as well, To Illicit. I thought her win fresh up was very, very good. She's going to get conditions to suit more than likely, but the 1400 is right in her wheelhouse. So To Illicit is right in there, as is Travelling Light. And I see we've already taken a wee bit of money Travelling Light's way. So I'm always keen to follow money when it comes in, and especially when it comes in early on. So Travelling Light up there as well. Look, I wanted to throw someone in like a Tina again. I know she's probably not best suited in weight for age conditions, but once again, there was a wee bit of support for her last time out, and I just think she may be capable of running a cheeky little race here. She'll be one that I do follow for the rest of the season anyway. But To Illicit looks very, very good on top.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you off the returning run, Steve. Look, we've talked about this before, but in these weight for age fillies and mares races, you do tend to gravitate, or you should be probably tending to gravitate towards those mares higher in the ratings, and that leaves To Illicit and Travelling Light right and played. And
also Show of Roses, which BP's pretty keen on at a possible each way play. Yep. Back to weight for age for her after contesting open handicap conditions first up. So she's better suited here. With To Illicit, her first up run in the red badge rated through the roof, 3.2 lengths above par. Look, she may not have that much improvement in terms of 1400 metres second up. On the back of having residual fitness, from the Brisbane campaign in the winter.
Yeah.
But she doesn't need to improve. She just needs to hold that line,
Yep.
and she'll be going very, very close to winning this. 1400, touch of concern, but I'm willing to back in the stable here.
Yeah.
The James Wellwood team. It's been 5 weeks between runs.
Decent
They've
break.
kept it at 7 furlongs. I'm willing to back their judgment purely on Two Illicit, who naturally you think will get better over 16 and a mile and a quarter over the Christmas New Year period. Travelling Light, just little coin first up, covered ground, facing the breeze. Had to carry a big weight, a few things against her. A few positives this time in, better suited at weight for age, blinkers on. Look, hasn't won since the Levin Classic in 2020, but look, personally, this no winning kind of tag horses get. I'm not with it. I think it's overrated at times. I think you just got to judge horses each race at a time and see how they're placed. And so no knock there personally on Travelling Light, even though she didn't win last campaign. And look, our Alley Cat, she rated through the roof, first up at Hastings, second up on the middle day, and behind Two Illicit. You could argue and say that she should have finished a clear second, and maybe with some luck and running, she might have given Two Illicit a little bit of a fright. So look, she'll be running for the tab, our Alley Cat, against the 3 or 4 that surround her in the betting, just purely what we've seen at a betting profile this time, and our Alley Cat. But if she can get the right run and luck, she can be in the first 4 as what her price is indicating. But look, there was a slight ball over. I think it's around Loose Cannon.
I'll see a bit of money for it.
Yeah, look, 21 to 18. I loved her resuming run at Taupo. She showed abilities. I think she won her very first race as a juvenile at Trentham from memory. But look, she probably hasn't gone to the heights that I thought she was going to head towards. But look, there's still time on her side, and I thought her run, going back to her first up assignment at Taupo, was very, very good. Probably only has to improve a length or 2 off that.
Wet track.
Harwood, a horrible form going forward. It was a heavy track that day. You just put the line through many horses on that Saturday around about 6-7 weeks ago. So willing to forgive Loose Cannon a nice possible 1x3 play. But yeah, good contest if you're directing the money towards the top 3 or 4 in the market, which you identify they're the high-rated horses.
Was our Alley Cat on the verge of potentially being underrated a little bit off what we've seen back her returning? Or
yeah, look, the stable is not high profile.
Right.
You're contesting the Marsh team, the Jamie Richards team. They have a big following, etc., and the James Wellwood. So naturally, they're not going to come hard for a horse like this that profiles in a race that has a lot of depth in terms of big stables. But you go back last campaign, I think she really made a name for herself when she finished second in the Westbury Classic and behind Levante at Ellerslie on Karaka Million Night. It was a huge run, running second and behind possibly our best 1 or 2 sprinters in Levante. Yeah, I think that's where she really stood up. But again, which we've seen at Hastings, she's been running for the tab. I think that will be the similar profile when it comes to Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, okay, BP. I want to talk about Travelling Light quickly, and you can give us your numbers at the same time. It was good to see her back. I think customers might be believing again, because I was very gun-shy with her resuming with the big weight, and there was no money for her that day. She did put on a good resuming run, and I think that might have just turned the memory banks on for people that she can be competitive, or very competitive, in a race like this.
Yeah, and I think her trial gave you that indication too, that she was going to run a decent race. First up on, what was it, Melbourne Cup Day, wasn't it, when she ran third? So, yeah, good enough trial, having to carry a lot of weight. And I was actually quite encouraged with what I saw in her fresh up assignment. So, yeah, she's there to run a big race on Saturday. I find it really hard to go away from the top of the book here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's where I'm heading in this year's running of the Dunstan Feeds Auckland Thoroughbred Breeders. My bet in the race is Showa Rose's top 4. I'll make Showa Rose's my top pick in the race. I think she's at a nice price at $10. And she can maybe go one better than what she did last year when running second. So I'll go 1 to beat 2, 3, and 4.
The old running numbers. Look, the top 4 will open, BP, when the tote opens, and I presume that'll be Friday morning or Friday, very early Friday morning. $2.90 the place, top 3. So what are we going to be hoping? Top 4, $2 or somewhere around there, maybe double our money.
Somewhere around that, 180, 190. Yeah, that'll be all right. Run that through some multis, and with it being such a wide open day, it's actually a really good bet type top 4. Like you look at Saturday's races, there is some big fields. If you find value, sometimes you can find horses at big prices. You're almost better off to say, okay, well, look, if it runs a half decent race like you think it's going to, and it runs 4th, and you get disappointed and deflated because you backed it each way, it runs 4th. So yeah, I think the top 4 is, if you say our Alley Cat is underrated, the top 4 is an underrated bet.
I like it. Underrated bet types, top 4 going into that bucket. First of all, Paul, run us through your numbers in this year's Thoroughbred Breeders.
2 Illicit, Travelling Light, Tina Again, and Show of Roses. 2, 3, 10, 1.
Okay, you got Tina Again on. You mentioned the money for it last time, and it's been a horse that they've backed a few times, and she has run some good races, Tina Again, hasn't she?
Yeah, she certainly has, and I know she's got a few more left in her as well. And if Saturday's the day, then I certainly want to be on. I don't want to miss out, so she'll be in there somewhere with me.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you wouldn't want to. You'd be crying if you missed out on the 26s, 31s if she did manage to salute, no doubt, Tina Again.
You talk about our Alley Cat,
Yeah.
and BP's talking about the betting option of the first 4. It's about identifying the marketplace, what happens between now and the close of race. Now, our Alley Cat, 5 already out half a turn to 550. It's heading in that direction where it's probably going to start somewhere between 6 and 7. Now, how we've priced it, a lot of the weight is around figures and numbers, our Alley Cat. So maybe the whole betting profile around the horse, when you chuck in the jockey and chuck in the trainer, it was always going to be a notable drifter. And what we've learned in its first 2 runs, it's been running for the tab, has been a drifter in both those runs at Hastings. So if you want to back first 4 around our Alley Cat or any option around
that's
her,
what you're saying.
maybe wait to come Saturday midday or even closer to race start time, because from what we're seeing early doors, the money for 2 Illicit, Travelling Light, even a touch for Show of Roses, that may be the horse where we have to grab that percentage from and drift it to 6 to 7.
Yeah, and Pop's almost alluded to that fact as well. Yeah, okay. No, very good. And I like that. Top 4, underrated bet time. Okay, gentlemen, we've kept our guests long enough. We're going to have to wind it up here, but we don't want to do it before we get a best bet from each of you. I'll start with you, Steve, because as you're right next to me, and I think you're fresh off a win, aren't you, last week? Or did you bet your best bet home last week?
Yeah, Chicana.
Oh, right, geez, yeah, you got home. Yeah, absolutely.
Chicana. Nice little wheeze too, out of 370.
I don't know what that was all about anyway, but yeah, good one.
Well done, Pricey.
I'll go to Te Rapa. I found it quite difficult, so I've gone for a horse that I think will start round about that $6 line. Race 6, number 13, Waimuku Falls. Look, Talented Mare wasn't too far off our better 3-year-olds last season. Probably just gelding off our better 3-year-olds last season. I just think he just showed a tendency to be a little bit weak and not finish off his races as a 3-year-old. So I was intrigued to see how he came back as a 4-year-old. He trialled up well. Look, his first up performance, he ran 5th at Te Rapa over 1,400 metres. The race shape didn't suit. They walked for the first 600, flashed home in the last 800. He was back in the last third, and he ran home some nice figures in his last 6.42 split. So stepping up to the mile, if the race shape is just even tempo, I'm not looking for them to break any records early doors, but just has to be even tempo. I think he can sit somewhere in that neutral position from a better gate. Waimuku Falls at a $6 price, I thought was a okay play in the undercard at Te Rapa on Saturday.
Okay, $6. Paul, he's taking a leaf out of your best bet book. I think he might be getting a bit intimidated after your form. Where are you going this week?
Yeah, he's seen the light, and fair dinkum. It's great to see. Look, I'm heading to the last race at Te Rapa on Saturday, race 9, the Te Rapa Tavern Mile, and I'm going with number 17, Packing Joy. Hasn't made the field yet, so will require another scratching to get in there. I wish the handicapper rated him a wee bit more highly. Well, maybe as highly as the bookies do, because fair dinkum, we haven't got a price yet. I would wait until a few minutes out from the start. I can see a drift here, and Packing Joy sitting on a price around the $7.50 mark. I think $7.50, $8. I think is where we'd like to jump on. So I'd wait for just before the start if, in fact, Packing Joy does make the field. Michael McNabb rode him last time, and he was finishing off nicely. I guess steps up to the 1600 this time. If we can get a little sit somewhere midfield, somewhere just one out maybe.
I'm sensing a conflict of interest here, Paul. Packing Joy, the way you're talking.
A full declaration, is that what you want?
I want our viewers to know, if there's any conflicts of interest in your tipping.
I'm a minority owner in Packing Joy, as is Thad Taylor.
Minority is right.
Minority, yes.
Absolute minority. Yes. Look, he's a chance, isn't he, Packing Joy, off his last start run. He ran well at Te Rapa. And Michael McNabb owes us one. He'll get it home, no doubt.
Good field.
Good field. That solid impact.
Solid impact hits the mark at 360.
He's been real good the last couple. Yeah.
So look, again, it's one of these. You just got to assess the marketplace. It's emergency number one. You get a $30 shot coming out. It makes the field. Obviously, we've got to ease a few horses to get that percentage down. So, a little bit to play out in that market.
Yeah, okay.
No doubt.
Okay.
Yep. I'd suggest easing number 17 then.
Very good. You've made your point. No, don't worry. I'm all going on at Steve enough for the both of us. Don't worry. Let's get back to a bit of sensibility here. BP, your best bet, please, for this weekend.
I'll go to Te Rapa race number 2. I do really like Miss Aotearoa. I was keen on her Melbourne Cup day, and she was a horse where the money came very strong for her. Just wonder with that race that she was drawn 1, and they were wanting to come away from the inside by that time of the day, and they were starting to win down the centre part of the track. And if you sort of watch that replay, Leader did roll off a touch, but Opie was really keen to try and get into that sort of 2, 3, 4 widths off the rail when turning for home. And of course, the horse was able to come over the top in Malastine. I thought Real Slim Tradie was actually really good because it covered quite a bit of ground in that same race also, and is going to be a rival on the weekend. What I do like is that they have put blinkers on her for the very first time, and that might be just enough because it looked like she was in front and she just loafed a touch waiting for something else. And then when that something else has come up alongside, she's gone with it again. So it was a top run from a horse that has already won black type. I think she's ready to go. I thought she was ready to go last time, but you can possibly get around that $4 mark if you're lucky because it is moving again around Miss Aotearoa. A nice horse, tricky draw, but I think she can get it done in race number 2.
That man on Patrick Bosson.
What's your price assessment, BP? Currently a 25% chance. Where do you see that price ending up?
I sort of 350, 320. I think I sort of around that mark.
Okay.
She's an early firmer, 480 into 4.
Geez, I haven't missed it then. Nice. Well, that's the sort of early money that our man Paul Mawadi likes. Thank you, Paul, for your efforts. And we know you're an early money man, late money man, middle money man. Thanks for your assessment and your selections for Saturday. Be looking forward to it as always.
Yes, very much so. Also looking forward to the finals of the NPC and hopefully the All Blacks finishing the season with a win.
Yeah, they'd want to, wouldn't they? Ian Foster would be pretty keen for the finish with a win, wouldn't he?
I would suggest so, yes.
Yeah, okay. Enough said at this stage. Thanks for your efforts, mate. Thank you, BP, for all you do for us, and looking forward to the weekend.
Yes, can't wait. And actually, we'll be on track as well on Saturday, so out of Te Rapa, so that'll certainly get me fizzing from now till then. And that All Black match is at a very friendly time as opposed to the last few weeks where it's been 3 a.m. cricket, 3 a.m. Black Caps, All Blacks. It is 9 a.m. for that France.
Bacon in the eggs time.
Oh, perfect. Okay, that's good. So you're on track on Saturdays. No more broadcasting from the bedroom.
no more broadcasting from in here. No,
with this.
So looking forward to it. Yeah, I'll actually have to put some pants on. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, very good. Well, we look forward to you putting some pants on. Thanks, BP. Yeah, exactly. Cheers, Stephen, for your
cheers.
efforts.
Waimuku Falls, Mia. I got mixed up with the stablemate and GC. That's the gelding which we touched on earlier.
GC,
Waimuku Falls and Mia.
Yeah, looking forward to Saturday. You'll be in the office, so you'll be helping trackside out, will you, hopefully?
Yeah, trying to help out where the money's flying and the firmers leading up to the races. So, really looking forward to it. As I mentioned, I think it's the strongest card we've had thus far this season, Te Rapa Counties Cup Day.
No, it's exciting. It's exciting times as we build to Christmas. Stick with us. We'll take you there on the leg up.